Prince Charles later said that it was the worst experience of his life. Prayers were held over Diana's body before the princess was taken from the hospital. In a break with royal protocol, Charles agreed that her coffin should be draped with the royal standard.
I was quite delighted to see that the royal standard was placed over the coffin. I thought that was very fitting and a very, very nice thing to happen.
This was a sign that, in death, Charles wanted to treat his ex-wife as a princess. "16 hours after Diana's death, the royal flight touched down at RAF Northolt, West London. The Princess of Wales was home. In front of the world's media, Diana's body was taken from the plane.
The saddest duty that has ever been performed at RAF Northolt.
I had told the photographers that there were to be no motorised cameras, just single shot. And you really could have heard a pin drop.
Not a word was said amongst us. It's hard to put into words how a bunch of really hard-nosed journalists, photojournalists, if you like, have been with this lady and covered some pretty hairy events around the world. And there we were, in total shock, if you like, thinking that there she is. It's something you don't forget. You can't forget it.
Diana's coffin had to be taken to central London. On the 15-mile journey, her escort was confronted by something astonishing.
The hearse left RAF Northolt, and I got in my car and sort of followed it down, and I was absolutely flabbergasted at how cars had stopped on the westbound carriageway of the M40, and people got out and stood alongside the central reservation barrier.
People, people, people. Absolutely, frighteningly amazing.
But this was only a hint of what was to come. As the public came to terms with Diana's death, Britain would find itself in the midst of a collective nervous breakdown. "24 hours after Princess Diana's death, Britain was in turmoil. In central London, 6,000 people an hour were now streaming to the royal palaces to pay their respects.
We came out the back of Downing Street and we walked up the Mall, and it was palpable immediately. You know, you could smell it, you could see it, you could hear it. I mean, there were hundreds of people carrying the flowers. So we were completely gobsmacked.
Diana's body had been taken to lie in state at St. James's Palace. When books of condolence were set up at the palace, it rapidly became a magnet to the thousands who wanted to pay their respects. Grief is often followed by anger, and beneath the tears, a simmering resentment was already building. The public believed that Diana had been killed by the paparazzi, so they were blaming the press.
Not to kill her.
I helped to kill her.
Not you, but your profession.
My profession, and you've never bought a newspaper.
I don't buy them when they're sorted. Don't you think that what you're doing is wrong? God, you've lost a lovely person for nothing. You're horrible. I really feel proud of yourself.
I went down to see what was happening. There had been reports of people being jostled and journalists asking questions and people saying it's all your bloody fault and, you know, how dare you come down here and what do you think you're doing? So there was quite a lot of that around, and I felt the mood was quite ugly.
If there was no money in the photographs, they wouldn't have been after her in the tunnel.
I was on my own, and somebody comes up, digs me in the back, and she started swearing and saying, you know, you killed her, you know, what you... And I said, I couldn't speak. So I kept walking, and she kept walking, screaming, shouting. And then this girl shouted out, "You're all to blame, you're as bad," you know. You felt, God, you know, just get out of it as quick as you can.